home of Seabreeze Amusement Park, garbage plates, and Anne's delicious chocolate chip cookies. This is FC3 Monkey Business, your one-stop shop for everything geeky, and everything is geeky if you love it enough. Starring Billy DeTore, me, I'm Tanya, and Chris Frank in full high-definition resolution. And here is your host, Christopher Frank.
I'm feeling very resolved at the moment. This is very great.
It's not resolved, it's resolution. It's like your computer screen, with like everything is crisp and clear and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I was going to say 1080p, but then I'm like,
we've used that one a couple times.
That's the full high def resolution, so
right.
I went that way instead because they don't use Technicolor anymore.
No, they don't. That's why I always get a giggle when we use that one in the intro.
Yeah.
We're talking about a resolution.
Oh, brother.
You like the Beatles?
I do like
love
the Beatles.
As a matter of fact, I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt to pay homage to the Beatles today.
Oh.
One of your favorite people gave you that shirt.
I know. Absolutely. I just can't remember which one.
Yeah, I think it was Dan.
Things that will get Chris killed for 100, Alex.
Oh.
That's too big of a category. I don't know.
There's a lot of questions there.
There's a lot of love in the room right now. I can tell. Thank you. Thank you very much, Brizzy.
Can you feel the love?
Is Juno there
tonight?
loving you?
No, she's actually outside of Juliana's room waiting for Juliana to come out the room. Even though Juno doesn't realize Juliana's actually down in the foyer right now.
Oh.
Why is she not coming out of her room?
Because she already did.
For you, I can't believe you fell for that.
Again.
What's with you, man?
The life, the love.
So
how are you guys doing?
Actually, not too bad. It was nice and sunny yesterday, so it was nice to get outside.
Cool.
It was a little on the cooler side. I mean, granted, it was like 57, which is nice for us.
Mm-hmm.
But, it was actually nice to actually see that yellow golding thing up in the sky.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Because for the last 5 weeks, I've been seeing gray cinder block walls in the corner of my basement.
Yeah, there's that.
Who chained you up down there?
Well, I wasn't going to say anything, but
well, that's a story for another day. So it's awful.
It does the homework again,
windows.
or it gets the hose.
It's awful not having windows. So, but I know I wouldn't.
I have a sledgehammer you can use.
I
want to be her sledgehammer?
I'd still only see dirt because I
have a shovel too.
I'm 13 courses below ground level. So
I have a shovel too, so we can make things happen.
Seriously, we have the technology.
Yeah, but you know what? But our thing is our yard is so hard to dig up because it's stupid clay, and and when it's dry, you can't get through it. You need like a power auger, and it's ridiculous. Yeah. I'm not even looking forward to like going out and weeding the flower beds and getting that stuff up because it's really hard to pull weeds out of there.
That's why you need an AstroTurf lawn like the Brady Bunch had.
Oh, absolutely.
There you go.
And I don't have to mow it. So, But it was really nice seeing all the people out mowing their lawns yesterday. So
I should have done mine. I considered it, but I was watching bad television.
That's okay. Today's a perfect day for bad television because it's raining like there's no tomorrow.
Seriously.
I'm hoping for good television today.
Now, what would compromise good television for you there, Bill?
I'm thinking about binge watching some of those shows that I always want to watch or movies that I've been wanting to see.
Okay.
Yesterday, I wound up, there was something I was excited about. There was a YouTube live stream of the Beatles cartoon movie, Yellow Submarine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
And it turns out that it's not as good as I fondly remembered it.
It usually is.
It just, after 10, 15 minutes, it was pretty and goofy for about, like I said, about 10, 15 minutes. And then not even the music could save it for me. It was like if, Chris, Tanya doesn't, Dan, I'm sure does. The Terry Gilliam animation in Monty Python,
Yes.
You know how
Yes.
it's funny for like 30 seconds a minute, but if you had to watch it for an hour and a half, you'd want to shoot yourself.
I'm with you, man. I'm definitely with you.
That's what Yellow Submarine was sort of like a precursor to Terry Gilliam's Monty Python animation.
Okay.
And to me, it didn't hold up. So that I turned it off. So let me find something just sort of lighthearted and fun to watch. And the Jackie Chan version of Around the World in 80 Days wasn't quite what I was looking for. But I watched the whole thing.
Now, that was what, Steve Coogan? Is that what?
Yes.
Who's with him in that one?
Steve Coogan, Jackie Chan. And there's a bunch of little cameos, especially towards the end, that kind of surprised me. You had Luke and Owen Wilson playing the Wright brothers.
Oh, fun.
Rob Schneider shows up as sort of a street urchin. But it was just fun enough. And I always like fight scenes involving Jackie Chan. They're always inventive. But the movie was awful. And they should have bailed. But I didn't.
Well, you know, I always give you credit because you hang in there on things that I wouldn't. You know, you have that ability that I just don't have the patience for.
For better or for worse. Luckily, I had a good night of live streaming music.
Oh, that's cool. That's always a plus.
Was good.
Yeah.
The movies, not so much.
Gotcha.
Maybe I'll watch. I heard Doom Patrol is really good. That DC. TV show with Brendan Fraser and Timothy Dalton.
Right. Yeah. I've been back and forth, but the whole thing is it's, you know, on the DC service. Therefore, you know, I don't have that subscription and I'm not going out of my way to find it at the moment. Right. That's been kind of how
it's going to be going under really, really soon. I think all the DC Universe stuff is going to go to a service called HBO Max.
Oh. Yeah, that's going to be a powerhouse when that comes out.
Yeah. So I think DCU is done in terms of the TV service.
Okay.
Although I hear the TV shows are really good. I haven't seen any of them yet, but
I haven't either. But I hear a lot of people talking about like Titans, for instance, very positively.
Yep. So. And Swamp Thing, I hear, was really good, even though it only lasted a season. It actually Swamp Thing got canceled after the first episode, even though it got rave reviews because they realized the budget was just outrageous on it.
Okay.
And they wouldn't be able to sustain it. So I don't know.
I do not know either. Daniel, how you doing over there, man?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah? All things considered?
Yeah, I mean, yesterday was awesome. All things considered, yesterday was a very nice day. Got outside a lot, so it was good. Take what we can. Not much around here.
Yeah,
not much
no kidding.
Good weather.
Right.
So, yeah.
I was so pumped. I took Friday off from work. I blew a personal day, which I only had a couple left, and I had this whole list of things that I wanted to do, and I was very excited. I actually had motivation and everything. I was going to hunker down, and I was going to work on the house for a little bit on Friday. And about half an hour into my first project, I dropped a 40-pound piece of plywood right on the top of my toe, split it right open.
Oh. That wasn't a good idea.
No. As a matter of fact, today it still bleeds just a little bit if I'm moving around, but otherwise it's pretty much closed up at this point. But it looks black. I mean, seriously, my toe looks like it's already in costume department for Walking Dead. That's
nice.
That's where I am. Right.
Did you break any bones in your toe foot? Really?
God, I was wearing shoes. I should have been. I was wearing sneakers. I should have been wearing my steel toes. Yes, in hindsight, I should have my work boots on. But I was hauling cardboard boxes and books and stuff around, so I didn't think of it. So the one piece of plywood, I was very as a matter of fact, here's the thing, I got that thing all the way from the attic down into the basement, and I was like an inch away from being right where I wanted with it, and I was putting it down and it slipped out of my grasp, and that was that.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, right down on top, and so it's just a couple of cuts in the worst places.
Yeah.
So whenever the toe even thinks about flexing, it bleeds just a little bit. So it's like there is my luck in action. So like great. Yeah. So then nothing else got done for the rest of the day because I was sitting around going, "Oh my God, this freaking hurts."
Yeah. Before my last radio job, my job before that was in a sheet metal factory. I've worked on some machines and in the warehouse and stuff. And one day I dropped a big piece of metal, like I think it was close to 50 pounds on.
Oh,
It slipped out of my hands and fell on my foot. And I was wearing steel toe boots, but naturally it landed just above where the steel toe ends.
right.
And I wound
'cause
up
that's
breaking. I wound up breaking a couple toes,
Oh,
and
geez.
was in one of those flexible casts for a couple weeks.
yikes.
So that wasn't fun, and that did hurt a lot.
Oh, yeah.
When that landed on my foot, people could hear me yell like down the hallway of the factory.
Mm-hmm.
It hurt bad.
Oh man, yeah, that's
So
tough.
I know what you went through. It's no fun.
This is getting crazier and crazier and stupider by the day.
Yeah.
Anyway,
At least they don't want you outside doing stuff or out and about anyway. You get to lay in your house.
well,
Cocoon. You had
working.
things you wanted to do, yeah.
Yeah, I had things I wanted to do. I was like all excited for a 3-day weekend, but I don't get to
Right.
enjoy those apparently.
No.
So
Yeah,
That's what happens when you plan things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to. That's the thing. I'm essential employee, right? So I work even when everybody else has been home, and so therefore it's. I don't know. I'm just gonna gripe again. Never mind.
Yeah, I wasn't even supposed to be here today. To quote Dante
You were
Hicks,
supposed to be in Arizona, right?
I was supposed to be in Arizona. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
visiting
Yeah.
my brother. Planned that trip about 4.5 months ago, 2 jobs ago. In fact, it's funny. I found out from some friends that work at the radio station, my vacation was still on the calendar there for this coming week. I was supposed to be in Arizona visiting my brother, and it didn't happen. So
wow. I gotta wonder what people are. How. It's interesting to me. I think the point I'm trying to jump to right now is I'm wondering how people are doing. A couple of months into this at the moment, because it's so funny. You see all these memes in the years leading up to this time in our history now, where you see the cabin in the woods. You could stay here with no human contact for a whole year for $1 million. Would you do it? And everybody's like, yeah, no problem. Yeah, that's great. No problem. Now they're like,
yeah, no,
trying to fight the government so they can get a haircut. It's like, wait, what? It's like, I thought you said you could handle this.
that's an excellent point.
I
Yeah.
thought you said you had this covered, but you don't.
Reality is much different.
It is. It really, truly is. I know I have been relatively unaffected. I am very blessed in that regard, right? I've not lost my job. I'm able to do most of my work from the field, which is going to lead to a very interesting conversation with the bosses when we get back into the office. Anyway, and it's just... It's there's not much other than the fact that like Jules has been screwed because she's not in school at the moment, right? She's doing all of her classwork from the foyer, and so it's driving her bonkers a little bit because she really likes to have that interaction with folks. But for me, I gotta say, it's like I'm fairly unscathed, so knock on wood, I'm in pretty good shape here. But I see it. You see it when you go out. On the rare occasion that I actually leave the house to not go to work, I go to Wegmans and I've got my mask, and you drive by the bank and you're like, gee, if I had the opportunity to walk in the bank with a mask on and ask for money, that would actually be perfectly acceptable these days. So, it's like there's a certain kind of math to everything at the moment. It's like, wait, what is really reality at this stage? We're trying to work that out.
It is weird walking into places with a mask on. It's just, it feels, it feels weird.
Yes. It really does.
It's just a bizarre times.
It really is.
But I mean, like you though, I'm lucky. I mean, I'm busier than ever at work. I'm still able to work from home. I can, I don't have to leave my house ever. And I have, my job hasn't changed at all really. So I guess I'm counting myself lucky in that. But I mean, just to see all the different people around and how it affects, people who can't work or people whose jobs, like Tanya's job has changed a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. There's days where I truly, there's days where I don't leave my computer chair when I
Mhm.
like if I come downstairs, like Monday, I'll have a staff meeting at 9 o'clock on Zoom from like 9 to 10, and then I'm in office hours from 10 to 11:30, and then during that time, during my office hours, kids can Zoom with me if they need help with math or whatever, and there's two of us on during that time, but I I'm doing more for my job and my coworkers and the kids than I do when I'm actually in my classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And because at least in my classroom, I can like go and talk to the person and say, okay, whatever, and then come back and get what I've done. Now, meanwhile, here I have to email the person or call the person and then wait for something to get done. And then like yesterday, I was on playing World of Warcraft, and one of my coworkers called me because one of her friends was trying to set up a Zoom meeting for them to have like a social hour last night, and they couldn't send email invites out. So she's like, "Well, I'll call Tanya." So I am
Tell me you've
trying.
become tech support.
I am tech support, and then one of my students messaged me on Remind yesterday, going, "Can you reset my password? Can you do this? Can you do this?" And I'm just like, and like I got an email. Two emails this morning from students that sent me work and things like I'm just like they do it whenever they think about it. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like, okay, I'm not going to necessarily email you back because I am not on work hours right now. I'm like, I love you guys dearly, but it's going to be Monday morning before I get back to you type thing.
Right.
But we're going above and beyond what our normal job description is in order to meet the needs of all of our students. Like tomorrow, I'm able to get out of the house wearing my mask because one of my students needs a laptop
Mm-hmm.
and his parents can't go over and get it. So
Interesting.
because of just conflicts or sickness or whatever that they just can't. I'm like, not a problem. I'm like, I will go and make arrangements to go over and get it at 2 o'clock. Um, they had to send me the user agreement saying that they're signing it, that this is loaned to them for the rest of the year, blah, 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 blah. I said,
Mm-hmm.
I will have not a problem delivering it because that's what we do to help and meet the needs of our kids. He's a senior. I had him
Okay.
on the other day and he's like, this sucks. I'm like, I know. He goes, I want to come back and see you guys. He goes, and I'm one. I mean, his attendance is great anyway, but
Mm-hmm.
he's just like, I miss you guys. And I'm like, it sucks for those seniors that are missing out on
Oh, my heart breaks for the seniors
the
this year.
closure of their high school career or the closure of their college career or just the closure of that. And
Mm-hmm.
right now we're closed down until May 15th. Who knows on May 8th that they could say we're closed for the rest of the school year. We
Right.
don't know, but we're saying that if it's August, we want to do a graduate, at least I want to do a graduation ceremony for our seniors if it's August, if it's whatever,
Mm-hmm.
to kind of close out and recognize all their achievements that they have done. And I've been seeing a lot on Facebook, like people do the parades. Like my coworker's daughter is a dancer. Actually, Dan, they live on the other end of your neighborhood, up on the south end.
Okay.
And she's a dancer, and they came through in cars playing the senior solo song "Stand by Me." And they had all their windows open in the cars, and she was in the driveway, and it was just so nice to see people getting out and doing that, but doing it safely and
Excuse me.
keeping the social distance still.
I mean, for kids, it's a matter of structure and routine and discipline that
is.
school helps.
Yeah.
And they're missing it. And it's sports and music and the art and the stuff like that, that cheerleading, whatever.
Kids, as much as they might rebel against a routine and a structure and possibly going to school at times, depending on what the situation is, there are so many that are so lost right now because they don't have the support or whatever that that the school does provide. Unfortunately, we're very lucky to have a support system in my house, your house, Chris, Dan, your house. But there's a lot of kids and students out there that don't have that. that are struggling, that would love to be back in school just to get that routine back, or to continue to just get that nurturance that they might not necessarily get at home.
Or like a family feeling. So, not everyone has great families. You brought,
Right.
You and Chris and Dan are great parents, but not every kid
Ask my
has
kids that.
great parents. Well, they're wrong.
Depends on the day.
I mean, I had good parents, but I have friends, and I know people who didn't grow up in the best of circumstances. So a school and a teacher like you, is important in their lives.
Can I tell you how many of the kids call me mom?
Oh God, yeah, that's a thing.
Every year I get at least 4 or 5 kids that will just call me mom, or whatever. Like one of my students calls me, "Hey, math mom."
Math mom.
I'm like, "Yes, math son," type
That's
thing.
Cute.
And it's our connection with them. And I'm like, I can't tell you how many of them I call Sweet Pea. Just walking through, I'm like, "Hey, Sweet Pea, what are you doing? Or what do you need? Help, or kiddo, or whatever." Now, granted, I know that I have juniors and seniors in high school, but none of them complain about it, because they know right there that showing how much I do care for them. Even though I can be a complete bitch at times, or a nag, or whatever, or they call it, they're like, "You're being a bitch." I said, "I'm doing it because I care.
Never
and I
noticed.
want you to be," oh, shut up. I want you to be successful, and I want you to be able to do this without me, type thing. And I think, and it's not until they're gone and they come back a couple of years later and they're like, "You're absolutely right. He's like, you, what you taught me in school." He's like, they're all like, "I wish I would have listened to you then," type thing. So.
And that's the payoff.
And I'm going to get all teary type thing, because I really do miss all my kids.
Even the ones that drive you bonkers.
Absolutely. If I could hear Maddie Patty like 20 million times, I would jump for joy right about now. type thing. As much as, and we were all talking about, as much as they drive us nuts on occasion, they do it because that's how they're trying to figure things out in the world, because they don't necessarily have all the coping strategies and skills that we do. And there's times where right now I don't have all the coping strategies and skills.
Right.
Like there was 2 Fridays ago at 3:00, I was in tears because I was just overwhelmed and whatever. And I needed to see other people than the 4 people in my house type thing. I mean, there's only so much FaceTime I can do with my parents. There's only so much FaceTime and talking I can do with Ann. I'm one that I was talking to my family. I need that physical contact. It's kind of like that, the seasonal affect disorder, where when people don't have a lot of sun and things like that, and they get down and depressed. I'm like,
right.
I was in tears with my family last week because they're like, what's a thing that's a rose and a thorn. That's what my cousin had posed it. A rose for this and a thorn for this. I'm like, a rose is, I'm not putting the miles on my lease / smart buy. So that's always the good thing, because I was going to go be over. I'm like, but the thorn is, I'm like, I am a people person, and there's not very many people in my house. And I see them every day anyway. So I like to see different people, and I'd like to be able to talk to my coworkers and talk and interact and things like that. And I like to talk. Can you tell? Because
we never noticed.
I've been talking for quite a while, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So, and I mean, Chris, I've been down even playing WoW lately, and I was talking with Sean. I'm like, both of us were like, yeah, we want to play WoW, but we don't want to play WoW.
It's lost its luster because
we've been playing WoW every day.
Yeah, it's well, that's the thing, is you're overdosing on it at this point. So it's lost a little bit of its luster. And that's a cycle, because I've been playing that particular game now for 15 years. And on and off. There are times I took a year break here and a 4 or 5 month break here. With these MMOs, these things that we love so much, these games, you have to step back from a while. I mean, even with D&D, I mean, at one point I was in like 4 or 5 different campaigns many years ago. And I couldn't keep them straight anymore. And I was just like, okay, I started kind of like maneuvering my way out of them and taking a break, just kind of because, even too much of something you like is is bad.
Too much. Yeah.
Everything in moderation is the key, but still, every so often you just realize, wow, I've just had too much of this and I want to back off of it.
And that's what Sean was saying the other day. Because he's got an alarm on his phone on Thursdays that's set at 7 o'clock or 7:30 at night. And sometimes when we're playing WoW, it'll go off. He goes, "Oh, that's gaming time." That that would be the time that he gets up and from whatever he was doing to get in his car and come to our house to play D&D. And we haven't played D&D since I think the week of my birthday, March 8th.
That's it. That was the last game, and I think I missed it. If I remember correctly.
Right around that time, and it's like Sean's like, if I could just have that would be something other than him. And he goes, and I live alone. I work from home. I only go out to go to Wegmans and to your house. And he goes, this is driving me nuts.
Yeah, I missed even just going out to eat, going to, even like a Five Guys or something. I don't necessarily have to interact with other people. It's just the act of, Susan and I going to get something someplace different, not having to do the dishes, not having to cook.
It was funny because one of my coworker, the nurse for my building, had said, "Oh, hey, let's go out to dinner," and they're like, "Yeah, let's." Their suggestion was go drive through McDonald's, and then pull into a parking lot like one spot away from each other, in at an angle like the cops, and open their windows, but they're 6 feet apart in order to have a dinner, quote unquote, together, but socially distanced.
Yeah, I've actually been seeing that, and predominantly with the police officers, because they'll all kind of gather up in a couple of the different parking lots that I work out of or base myself out of, and you see them, they're all kind of like just chilling out. And at one point, it was funny. They wanted to pass each other something, so the one got out of his car. And he put something on the roof of the other guy's car, and then he got back into his car, and then the other guy gets out and picks it up and pulls it off. And I'm like, okay, these guys, they have their system down. They know what they're doing.
That is like one of the longest intros we have had before we've done a break.
Well, I think today we were just planning on just chatting, I miss you guys. I mean, for 4 years, it was every other week we were in the studio. Right. And then after we lost the studio, we started getting together every other week at Dan's house. Yeah. And that made it even cooler for me in a particular way, because it's still us together talking about things we love, but we're at a friend's house. And it kind of almost started kind of really adding something to the vibe for me. And Dan and I have been best friends since we were 14, 15 years old. I've known Billy. I've known Tanya for forever and a day. And, you guys are my family. And I haven't had a chance to see my family in a couple of months, and it's bugging the crap out of me. So it's good to have these times where we're just, shooting the shit and talking about our experiences. And the talk that we're having here before, the usual first break is hand in hand with kind of the topic we wanted to kind of touch on is how is this all going to affect other people, how it's going to affect entertainment people, how it's going to affect how we take in entertainment together. So this is a world kind of watershed changing event type of a thing. And it starts with us. We're the bottom line, right? So we move from there. So I can talk a lot too.
Really? We couldn't tell either.
No, I'm not familiar with that concept at all.
I can listen very well.
Can you? Well, I think that's the difference, because there's several of us that are like in our professions or our jobs that are talkers, and then there are others that are more behind the scenes doers and just are like, okay, more introverted or whatever, and things like that. So I think that's why we mesh well together. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. We're not sick of each other yet. Give it another, 10, 15 years.
Yeah, well.
Anyway. So shall we? We'll take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll expand this particular part of the conversation out a bit and talk.
Perfect, because I have to see what Riker needed.
Oh, I see.
I could hear him, but I didn't answer him, so.
Sure.
That all.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll expand the conversation out. So talk to you soon. Hi, honey, I'm home.
You sound tired.
I am. I have not been sleeping very well the past couple of days. Well, I normally don't, so this is like not new information for people. But with the freaking injury to the toe, it's like every time I shift, a little shock goes through my foot, and it's like, oh, come on. I also didn't want to get like a dependency on Advil PM, so I actually legitimately did not take it the other day, and that was a bad idea. So I paid for that one. But that's okay. It's all right. I will figure it all out in time, I suppose. So I smile and nod a lot. It's really what gets me through my day.
All right.
How are you guys doing? Honestly, I mean, we talked a little bit at the top of the show, but still.
I think I'm doing okay. I'm doing pretty good because we mentioned before I'm sort of an introvert. I'm an introvert, I'd say.
Uh-huh.
So, I like watching TV, hanging with Susan, reading, listening to music, but I do still miss the interaction. I miss working, first of all. Just sort of we're talking about the school kids routine. I'm sort of that way. I like a routine where I feel like I'm being useful to somebody doing something. And, I've been lucky enough to work in atmospheres I've really liked for the past bunch of years, or with people I've liked. So I miss that.
Yeah, we have our office at City Hall cut up into cubes, so it's 4 people per cube, and so I have quite the group. My friend Angie, who she's worked with the convention before, my mentor Bobby, and my coworker Bellachew, right? So the 4 of us, we have our bond, and Bellachew is the 5th Beatle, because before he sat in that particular chair, we had a guy named Dan, who's become a friend of mine at work over the years. So we had our crew, and we're just we text each other all the time, because we're like, hey, how you doing? Hey, what's going on? How are the dog? How are the grandkids? And we're just trying to keep in touch with each other. And Bobby, who's not typically sentimental, he's not a very sentimental guy. He's like, oh my God, I miss you people. Where have you been? I miss you. And it's like, yeah, it's kind of like, holy crap, it's happening to everybody right now.
And I'm still trying to keep myself busy with, like this podcast, the one for the Comedy at the Carlson. I podcast with them. I write my goofy little T-shirt Facebook post just for something to sort of keep my mind working.
Yeah, it keeps conversations going too. People are always making commentary about your T-shirt posts.
And now I'm writing something for the Record Archive newsletter.
Nice.
I emailed the owner, say, hey, do you want me? I go, you've seen how I write, my writing style on Facebook. If you want me to write something about music, I'll do it just because I like having something to do. And, instead of just like, what bad movie am I going to try and not watch next? So now I'm writing for the Record Archive newsletter, and just for fun, and keeps my mind sort of active and thinking about things in a different way. I can still sort of like put little ideas in my brain. Okay, this would be good to write about, in one way or another, or talk about on the podcast or something. So it just keeps your mind active, trying to have things to do,
right?
And reasons for doing them. Like my T-shirt posts are just a reason for me to get dressed in the morning.
And that's the funniest thing, because everyone's like posting on Facebook about being in their pajamas and whatever.
I'm in my pajamas.
And working from home.
Yeah.
And every single day I come down to quote unquote come to work, I have taken a shower, I have put my jeans on, I have put a T-shirt, and I usually have one of my Bosie's fleeces on. I still get up and get dressed like I would be going to work.
Right.
Because I need that structure and the routine.
I
might
do
not
too.
wash my hair every day, but I'm still doing that. Now weekends are a totally different story. But every quote unquote work day, as I only dragged myself out of bed at 11 o'clock this morning. And I had to cut 2 people's hair before this. So I'm like, I just threw clothes on. I'm like, I don't care. I'll take a shower tomorrow morning. But I still need that structure and routine.
Yeah, I still.
I don't feel like, not a problem. I just don't feel like my day started.
Yeah, I shower at night. I shower every night just because it feels good. And
Mhm.
I rotate like 7 pairs of pajama pants that I have. I think one of the biggest fallacies that's being exposed through the pandemic is that blue jeans are comfortable. No, they're not as comfortable as pajama pants.
True.
Yes.
A good pair of sweatpants or something.
Yeah,
Or,
exactly.
I am very
Yeah.
grateful for the battle sweats that I was what I'm calling them. I got this really nice heavy pair from Dan and I, our high school alma mater, and so yeah, I'm there. I've just discovered that they're a little too heavy to sleep in these days. So I have my sleeping sweatpants, right? So
Uh-huh.
I've got my daytime PJs and my nighttime PJs, just like everybody else does these days. I also have developed, much to my surprise, I didn't realize this until just the other day. I've developed a superstition, and I'm not normally one to have that. I have like habits for certain events and things like that, but I've never considered myself outright superstitious
Mhm.
per se. But I am now. I've noticed. I have several hoodies for work, and Tanya has stolen a few of them over the time. But I have several hoodies, and
Only
I've been
because
wearing.
one of your kid left one here.
Yeah, and I've been wearing one consistently for the past couple of weeks, and I've just I've determined that every time I wear that hoodie, that it's been a good day. I've been able to get work done. I've been able to get through the day without going bonkers, whatever the case may be. But that hoodie I take it off. I take it out of the closet in the morning. I put it on when I'm working, and when I get home, I immediately put it away. And yesterday, I was like, I should probably throw it in the wash. And I'm like, no, I don't want the juju to go, and I don't want it to risk being stuck in the laundry. And I don't have it for Monday, so it's like, nope, I need to keep this right where I can see it at all times. And I'm like, oh my god, I've become superstitious about this. This is weird. So
It's funny. I agree with you, Chris. It's funny because I never considered myself superstitious, but like
Mhm.
in bowling league, if I bowl really well in a t-shirt, I remember that and I
Yeah.
know which one it was.
Uh-huh.
And that's the one I'll wear until I don't bowl good in it. And
It just makes you feel good
Yeah.
because it's like that's not the security blanket, but it's like the comfortableness. It's gives you that positive feeling that things were going good when I wore this or whatever. And like
Mhm.
it happens in sports too. I mean,
Yep.
sports fans have their lucky or their favorite things that their rituals or their routines or their
Oh,
superstitions that they do.
baseball
So
players are the worst superstitions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They are notorious for it.
There's one of my all-time favorite Mets was a pitcher named Turk Wendell, who
Mhm.
had just a ton of superstitions. He brushed his teeth between every inning. He
Oh wow.
wouldn't. He like. A lot of players will step over the foul lines. He would literally like take a great big jump over
Okay.
the particular area. He chewed like black licorice on the mound, and then he would brush his teeth between innings. He had a ton of goofy ones too, like where he'd stand and
Mhm.
having to pound the ball in his glove a certain number of times, and he was almost OCD about it.
Almost.
Yeah. Almost.
I would say we're way past almost.
But if you start typing Turk Wendell's name into Google, superstitions will come up.
Okay.
Is
Good
like
to
the
know.
autofill.
can you spell that?
TurkWendell.
The great and mighty
Okay. I
Turk.
get Turk Wendell, baseball pitcher, Turk Wendell necklace, net worth, Iowa contract, Jersey Sun.
Wow, you never got superstitions. That's weird. Okay.
Nope.
Maybe it's just me. Okay. I'm wrong.
Oh,
No, you're
as soon
not.
as I put the S in, I got stats, sun, superstitions, and salary.
Okay.
There you go.
Still kind of far down on the list.
Yeah,
but-
that was weird. But he was considered a baseball pitcher.
Yeah, I miss baseball a lot, though. That might be
Oh.
the thing I miss the most about what's going on now. Is just my Mets games every night. That's something I've been watching minimum 4 or 5 times a week every spring and summer since like 1980, so 40 years. It's been something that's been ingrained in me is to watch New York Mets games, and they're not there right now. So
Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy. I gotta imagine, how we just do everything has changed. To circle around to the topic we were talking about for today. I mean, just going to the movies. You go to the movies because you want to see it on the big. Sometimes you want to see these big explosions and stuff on the big screen, right? You want to see the big blockbusters on the big screen.
And
so that's a thing.
Of them have been postponed.
Yeah. Well, there's that. I mean, that's an obvious effect too, but it's the whole the shared experience too. Because I, as a matter of fact, I caught a video where somebody filmed. I know they probably shouldn't have. They naughty, but they filmed the climax of Infinity War Part 2. Endgame, right? When everybody gets together and you see everybody come out and whatnot, and then the crowd. I think that the person was recording it because they wanted to get the crowd reactions because they were actually panning the camera around at everybody, and it was a packed house, and people are screaming every time somebody popped up. People are shouting, and and just enjoying the elation of the moment of this reunion of all the heroes getting ready to basically go to full on war against Thanos, and that vibe is so powerful. It's like, okay, that's why you go to the movies for these big blockbusters. It's not just to experience them at that level; it's to hear everybody else experience it right along with you.
And there's no distractions. You're there just for the movie versus if you're home, there's other kinds of distractions there. So I mean, it's definitely just a different feel. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you can pause it for a minute.
I broke something.
Yeah.
Oh wait a minute, that's just me.
The theater is definitely a different experience than watching it at home.
I mean, where else can you spend like $6 on a Coke and not complain? It's just the experience.
I miss that. Come on.
Yeah.
$14 for a small popcorn.
Well, I have the Cinemark movie club, so I don't believe it's being charged to my account right now because of this. But like I would buy the ticket for me and Sean to go to the movie. He buys the popcorn and the drinks and things like that. And it just truly, we miss that.
Yeah.
To be able to go. And I'm like, I'm currently on the popinsider.com. This was news from, I think, about 6 days ago. So nope, it was last date updated on Friday, April 24th. So by the time that you guys hear it, our listeners hear it, it will be a little out of date. But they're just like looking at like the live events, like Record Store Day. I immediately thought of Billy. That was supposed to be April 18th. They're now saying Record Store Day will hopefully take place on June 20th.
June 20th, yeah. And hopefully it does. And if not, who knows? Because I do know the store still has all the stuff on order. And I bet a bunch of it is right now at Elena's house because it was supposed to be there for the original date. So
I'm looking at it says Las Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So the governor of Nevada is making sure nothing happens in the casinos until further notice. So I mean, it's just kind of oh
god, yeah, because the mayor of Las Vegas was on the news with Anderson Cooper, and wow, what an interview that was. It's like, wait, what?
So then I'm looking at like the information for the movie releases. So I get down to like Black Widow. He goes, our favorite Russian spy turned Avenger cannot catch a break. But before I get off on a tangent about Endgame, Hollywood Reporter says that the film will not premiere on May 1st as planned, which we knew. It's now set to open on November 6th. So it kind of gives just a tidbit of humor to this horrible situation that we're in.
Yeah.
But because if we can't laugh at anything, we're just
doomed.
not going to be able to. Right.
Absolutely.
This morning I was listening to a parody of there's How Do You Solve a Problem Like Maria? But it was How Do You Solve a Problem Like Corona? And it was the same woman dressed up as a nun singing it, and it kind of was funny. So,
yeah, you have to have a sense of humor these days to survive. I mean, it's a serious situation, but you have to. I mean,
you have to be able to find the positives and take the grain of salt where you can, and the grain.
I mean, it's gonna pass eventually, and we're going to have something after this.
Right.
I mean, it might not be the same. Who knows? But
Did I see Cinemark filed for bankruptcy or is going to?
I don't know that.
The movie theater chain. It might be AMC. It might be Cinemark. At this point, it might be both. But
let's find out.
Yeah, I mean, they're not doing anything, so who knows?
But in terms of movie, like Disney had the Artemis Fowl movie coming out soon. Now it's going to wind up on Disney Plus. They just decided, let's put it up there. Now people are paying for the service instead of going to the theaters, because when they decide the theaters are going to open, it's still going to take a while for people to actually go back to the theaters. They go back to doing anything. 60,000 people, 80,000 people aren't going to want to sit in the Bill Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to...
And it's AMC theaters that may hire bankruptcy law firm.
Yeah, probably just for protections, not for them actually to go Chapter 7. They're probably going to go, like, if they do declare, they'll declare 11 to protect the business just long enough for them to get out of the harm's way, kind of a thing. That's what I'm thinking. But then I would not be surprised if you go to the movie theater and that $6 Coke suddenly becomes 12.
Yeah. So that's how they make the money.
Are the only movies getting released going to be the huge Marvel type blockbusters, and there go the mid-level romantic comedies? They're just going to wind up on Netflix or Amazon Prime or something.
Yeah, straight to video.
I don't know. Like Wonder Woman is now August 14th.
Even that's pushing it.
Right. And what is there not to say that you still like social distance where you're going to have to do like every other seat or every 2 seats.
Right. Well, it's like Dan was saying, something's going to change. I know, I personally, if Cuomo comes out of the blocks today and says, okay, everybody can start phasing back in over the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'm not going anywhere for 2 months. I'm going to watch everybody else and see if this is indeed was the right idea or not. I'm not going to go out and risk it. Are you kidding me?
It depends what opens. I mean, opening other stores, like Record Archive, I don't see a reason why that couldn't open.
Right.
As long as you take precautions there, you're not as if you're getting thousands of people a day, unfortunately. But but you could open it with and take like grocery stores can open. So you could open up some businesses. You can reopen up some things at a slower pace.
Some restaurants and with rearranged seating type of thing. Right.
I mean, restaurants might be a little harder because it's more of a personal stuff. But I mean, but it could be done. Like I said, the Bills, like you said, the Bills games probably not. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen by September. We don't know what's going to happen for our convention by September, but but who knows what things are going to be like. I mean, there's not going to be a vaccine for a while.
Were they saying like a year?
Yeah, I keep on hearing different things, but you hear they're in trials already for stuff, but it's still going to be a year, so I don't know how that works. But yeah,
you and me both.
But yeah, I mean, who knows what the next world's going to be like?
Yeah,
crazy.
And here we are. We're watching the end of the world that we knew, and we feel fine. And
thank you.
Yeah, and we're watching the birth of something different. I mean, how many generations get to see that? I mean, our grandparents did.
Yeah, it's not like, I mean, wars are bad. I mean, wars are bad, and this isn't like a war where when it's over, it's done. We don't really have an over because there's still so much we don't know. It's just it'll get progressively better, but it won't suddenly be okay. We're out of the war. We can just do whatever we're doing again.
Right, everybody back to normal.
Because
I think you know what I do foresee that down the road, the normal that we knew can return. Okay, but it's going to be on the shoulders of our leaders. What can they do to prevent this from happening again? And I'm sure there are steps. It's complicated. You leave it in the hands of experts, people who understand this stuff better than most, right? But I would assume that. I mean, the new normal is going to be around for a while. And I'm not saying everything's going to go right back to the way it was in January of 2020, at the snap of a finger. That's just not possible. But I can't imagine knowing what we know. And when you let people do their thing, and you let the experts do their thing. This could have happened 5-10 years ago, but people stopped it from happening. It was always on our radar. This is something that we've talked about. This did not, contrary to popular belief, hit us out of left field. Okay.
Every 10, 20 years, we're getting some. We had the SARS virus. We had the swine flu.
H1N1.
Yeah, I mean, we get these things. Why? I mean, I don't know what makes. I mean, I guess there's more uncertainty with this one. Why it makes it, but is it the fact that we have the ability to do all this remote working and stuff that we're able to? That we didn't. I don't know. Were we not able to lock down before that we wouldn't have done that, or?
I'm wondering if, honestly, if we just never had to lock down before.
I don't remember anything being quite as contagious as this.
That's also a thing.
It's got a long incubation, so you don't know for a while if you have it.
Right, and it has staying power. So even after you've gotten rid of it, or think you've gotten rid of it, or you've been made yourself safe from it, that it
can come back.
It lingers. Yeah. It can linger.
I think, Dan, you brought up something. The ability to work from home. I think even when things return to normal, there is going to be a modified new normal where people realize we don't need to rent this office space or this building or all this equipment in the offices. A lot of people can do their jobs from home. Before, they were every morning getting up, getting in their car, going to a different place to do a job they're now doing from home. And somewhere the big bosses of these corporations are going, why should we pay for this office?
Because I know my company was very not in favor of working from home. I mean, there was people that would, but if they had any preference, most managers would not want their employees to work from home. So I'm kind of curious, since they were kind of forced into it, my company moved like 15,000 employees working from home in a week. So we moved fast, and amazing that we had the ability and we can still do our job. Nobody, as far as I know, nobody from my company lost their job.
Well, that's cool.
During this, or I don't know if anybody's furloughed. I know sales reps are still doing their jobs, and everyone's still doing their jobs. And we turned that around in a week, and no one's been in the office for paychecks is locked down. The buildings only necessary people are in the building, so I can't get in the building if I wanted to right now. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what's gonna. Is this going to be a long-term change? I mean, I see the advantage of being in the office and seeing face-to-face my coworkers, but I don't need to be there every day. If I was there, if I could work from home half the time and do that, that'd be even better.
I wonder if there are any studies going on about productivity, people in the office versus people at home. If there's a drop in productivity, or if people are getting more distracted at home by kids, TV.
Yeah,
home.
The kids part is definitely probably a challenge for most people. I mean, I know it is for me. You have the younger kids, especially, where you need some hands-on with them, and they just can't. You can't just say, okay, go do your schoolwork for the day, and so I can But I've also been working, quote unquote, working longer hours too. I've been logged in more. My office is right here right now. So, I'm doing more stuff, and I'm keeping. So I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting.
It may also make bosses think you're always available to work now, which I guess in a way it's sort of true with technology, but at least before, when you go to an office in a building or whatever, it was expected, okay, you worked from 8 until 5 or whatever your hours were. And at home, anything else was sort of, maybe you had to do some stuff, maybe you didn't. But, now with always being home, if more is expected of you, or more time is sort of gradually forced on you.
In my group, I see most people with the same hours they had before. Okay. I mean, I've always had kind of crazy hours, and I kind of log on at weird times anyway. So I was always one of those. I'm not the norm in my group, probably. I'm
Norm.
Norm.
But so I can see. I mean, but most people I see just working. They're logging in just their normal work hours, and you won't see them on the weekends and stuff. But so I haven't seen too much of a change, at least in my group.
Okay.
I mean, I can't speak for everybody, of course, but so yeah,
I think that's good.
Yeah. Trying and precarious times we live in.
It is.
So what's it going to mean for the entertainment industry? We're kind of talking, weren't we?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we kind of hinted at it in terms of going to the movies, going to the baseball stadiums, going to any sporting event, going to conventions, even. What are the steps that are going to have to be taken? What are the equations that are going to have to be written?
Or even in terms of Hollywood making stuff, what crews and actors and writers and producers and directors and all the people that have to gather on a movie set, or if you film on location.
Just shows in general. I mean, what about Saturday Night Live? What have they been doing? Saturday Night Live from home.
Home, yeah.
Yeah.
American Idol's been doing they're trying to keep going, so they're doing it, from their contestants' homes. They're having them sing their songs, type of thing. So, how is that going to work for stuff going forward?
In terms of scripted dramas and comedies and all that type of stuff, I think more animation might actually show up because you can still make animated shows.
True. That's a very good point there. Yeah, because I've seen Jimmy Fallon's trying to do a couple of some soap opera type of thing where they're all trying to, but you can't do a scripted show with the stuff right now. So what's the fall season going to be like?
It's I mean, that's the thing is this is going to be reverberating through our world for a very long time to come. It's and not just sports and not just entertainment, but how you work, how you live, how you shop, how you interact, how your children go to school. How do you go on? Maybe going on vacation is going to be the only thing that actually benefits, because all these remote places are going to start popping up and benefiting the most. Imagine the cabin in the woods is going to become a very popular option because you're not going to be around another human being for another 10, 15 miles. So that you have.
Do you really want to get in a giant flying tube and go to a big building with a hotel? How safe is a hotel going to be? Airplanes. Right. I still think vacations are going to be scary for a while, and the vacation.
Well, I think you're going
to
see the return of the Great American Road Trip then. In that case,
yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna stay domestic, you're not going to fly to Italy, right? If this tube is that much of a concern, which that's legit. I'm not invalidating. I'm just making it a comment. But driving from Rochester to the Thousand Islands, driving from Rochester to, Myrtle Beach, driving from Rochester to Key West, something like that. Driving to California, driving out to the Rockies, driving out to Montana might become the next vacation spot because you have this wide open space that nobody's using. You have this great resort out, like you do like kind of a ranch kind of a feel with the cabin in the woods, and there's not another human being for 10, 20 miles. Montana could be the next major vacation spot. And I said it there first. So if it becomes a thing, I want a percentage.
Letterman has lived in Montana for years for that reason. He loves the solitude. So if that happens, he'll be miserable.
Well, most would say that Letterman is miserable on a regular basis just to begin with. So, this is definitely a very, history-defining kind of thing that has happened to us, and it's interesting to see how people are reacting to it. I've studied history for such a long time. I mean, I loved it in school. I've done it as a hobby, which is sick when you think about it. I've studied political science when I was in school. So the thing I really realized is that I've always looked. It is true. History is written by the victor. So history is written by the survivor. Written as a history by the people who saw it and was able to express it. now we're actually living it. So we're seeing history being made from a perspective that we're normally seeing, but we're also seeing people who don't agree. And so we're able to kind of go, because I've gotten into a couple of debates on my Facebook alone with folks who are more libertarian minded than I am. And, they're like, well, this is government overreach. This is that. And I want to automatically dismiss them. I really do. And there's a lot of arguments that are just, that's bizarre. Why are you saying that? But then they'll make a point, and then there's an observation. And then I've learned to, instead of just challenging, I'm like, well, how would you do it? Not to try and be a prick about it, but I'm like, well, how would you handle this situation? And then they would say something, and there are times where I dismiss it, and there are times where I'm like, oh, well, that's actually pretty damn valid. Okay, cool, all right. And so it's for me, this is kind of wild to see how the world is shifting, and we're seeing it from the inside rather than from a textbook. So there's a ramble. Never mind me. I'm just going to stop talking now.
Now, back to entertainment. I love music, and bands, a lot of the smaller sort of indie bands that I like can't tour right now, which I think initially may have been, and it probably still is, a huge problem because they can't go out on the road, sell their merchandise. A lot of them are doing live streams from every night to a couple times a week to once a week. And just saying, hey, we know it's tough times. If you can afford to put something in our PayPal, we'd appreciate it, or buy some merch from our website. And I think a lot of them are doing really well because instead of playing in front of 100 to 150 people in a city per night, they're playing to anywhere from 300 to a couple thousand every single night. And I know I've donated and bought stuff from favorites of mine, and I think some of them are doing okay. Now, the one sad thing is that most of the stuff I like is sort of acoustic based or guitar and drum. Nowadays you don't have full bands. You don't have the guitar, bass, drums, keyboards because they can't all get together in a room to play. So a lot of the people I like are like people that can play the acoustic guitar or the piano. So full bands I think are kind of screwed right now. But in terms of like the guy in charge of the band doing a show from his living room, I think they're sort of doing okay and finding a new revenue stream for a while.
It's almost like, and I don't even know if this is an accurate example, but it's the one off the top of my head. It's like when Dave Matthews goes out with just Tim Reynolds rather than the whole band.
Exactly.
And so people are like, oh, here's my front man, here's the star, here's the guy that I watched this particular band for, and the rest of the band's kind of going, oh, okay, I guess we'll just sit around doing nothing.
Well, if Dave Matthews still wants to pay the rest of the band from people, because I still know a couple bands that are charging virtually for tickets. There's ways and websites that'll do it where you pay $5, $10, $15, $20, and the guy will put a show on for you. And if that guy wants to pay the rest of his band,
that's on him.
That work. Actually, that's one of the reasons I'm a huge fan of Conan O'Brien's podcast, and they were talking about the shows they're doing from home, and by him doing the shows from home, the network is still paying his staff.
Well, that's good.
And he's paying his staff.
That's classy.
Because the shows are staying on the air, the people that work for those shows still get paid.
Good.
Which is good.
Very much so. Yeah.
We're going to definitely have to keep talking about different stuff because you see that we have lost our fearless leader.
Have we? Where'd he go?
Oh.
His computer shut down.
Oh, no.
So I think what happens is that the Zencastr...
He's the host.
He is the host.
Yeah.
So therefore, I don't think we can stop recording.
Oh, no.
Until he comes back on, and he's trying his hardest to get back on because I don't have control of anything here.
No, I don't either.
I have the little red.
He's got the dashboard
on there, but he's got the dashboard. So
okay, here's what the three of us are going to do. Here's what the three of us do. We're just going to stop. Okay, and that gives Dan like a 10-second. Easy 10-second break so that he can edit, and then we'll just we'll just hang in there until he gets back. I'm telling you,
behind the
It's-
scenes tape now.
It's a BTS, baby. Those are money, man. Those are serious money. You know,
I'm like, well,
I wasn't even paying attention.
We were too busy babbling amongst ourselves.
So I'm taking care of it. Yes,
I appreciate the fact that Tanya is so detail oriented that she sees things like this, because I would have been like clueless.
What do we do with Dan's big list of questions?
I know. Seriously,
we can't even do anything. We can't even stop. We can't. We have no control over.
Well, here's the thing: is anything actually being legit?
Hi, Dan.
It was still recording everything that we were talking about.
Well, I was seeing the bar, but are we being recorded at the moment?
It's recording in progress, and all our WAV files are up. So
okay, so then he collects them at the end.
Yes, it records each one of our tracks separately, and then it uploads to him.
Probably assuming that something like this could happen. That's kind of clever. All right.
That is
so
clever.
We can just.
I see Dan might be back.
He's recording in progress at the moment. I don't know if he's passing health checks or anything like that.
He's refreshing his screen.
Hang on.
I just got a message.
Yeah, I just got the VoIP message that everything had fallen, had failed. So we'll have to see where we are.
I got the message. I accidentally turned off the computer. I'm like, turn it back on. He said, trying. He goes, are you guys still on? I go, yes, we are. I haven't gotten anything else since that.
Okay. Well, we will figure it all out when he gets back in. Do you know how long he was out for?
4 minutes.
I heard something.
I did too. I heard Dan in the back, like faintly in the background. I thought I heard Dan.
Almost like he was across the room again from his microphone.
You might, but I don't have his line on my computer.
I do.
I have his line.
You have his line?
And I do see it moving.
Yeah.
There it is.
Hi, Dan.
You.
I can't hear Dan. So, and I'm not going to touch anything right now, but if we want to say, okay, here is our break.
Yeah, no, seriously. Did anything save at your end, Dano?
Are you still there, Dan? I don't think he can hear us.
He might be doing something trying to get Tanya back in.
There.
Oh, jeez.
I'm out of the loop.
Dan is using 2 headsets right now. He can hear us through one, and he's talking through another.
And I don't think and I don't think Tanya and Dan can hear each other.
No.
Yeah. I see recording in progress for everybody.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
You know, I think I could just hear him coming through someone's headset.
Okay. And is there a file that actually recorded? All right. Let's see what we lost. You're lucky I'm on my meds.
I know you guys are. You called me unhinged and
unplugged.
Unplugged and unhinged. I said you guys are lucky that I'm on my meds today. Had I not had them, whew,
that's gonna be a record coming from Mighty Monkey Records. Tanya Mattress, unplugged and unhinged.
Does everyone have to hear now what I work with on a pretty much daily basis?
Oh, you love us. Stop.
What color is the sky in your world?
Fuchsia.
Gray.
Blue. Fuchsia.
Fuchsia. Oh God! See, that was a thing back in the day in college. You would hear somebody say, "What's the color of the sky in your world?" and get ready for the magic speaker button, because our response would be fuchsia. Fuck off. So we're recording right now. We did have a technical fault. That's why you got a little hiccup there.
I had to stretch my legs, and unfortunately, I stretched right into the power strip of my
and knocked your computer out.
Did your toe just hit the power, the on-off button just right?
It's a big button. My power strip has a really big on-off button, so it's really easy.
Dan, your button is so big.
I see Chris likes the big button.
Not the size of your button, Chris.
It's the power going through it.
That's right.
But you know what? Those glitches happen to every single one of us at any given moment. I'm like, fortunately, my power strip for my computer is up on my desk behind my screen, but the computer upstairs in the den, the power strip's on the floor, and I have done exactly what Dan has done. I've been playing with my feet or swinging my feet around and things like that, stretch my legs out, and boom, everything shuts down.
And then you have that moment of like, what just happened? Oh no!
And I'm like, oh.
We're just lucky that it saved everyone's. It saved our segment there, so that's good.
So. Yeah, because I've lost whole things when I used to record you guys when I'd hit a wrong button or when there'd be a failure, a glitch, something go wrong, and we'd have to start over again. So at least you still have all the recordings.
Yeah. That was my biggest concern. Is like, oh no.
But right now, I'm just hoping one of my cats doesn't walk across Susan's laptop. It looks like he's considering it.
He's considering it. He's contemplating.
So if you lose me, it's Daniel's fault.
It's like I hear the conversation. No, wait a second. So no matter what happens, it's my fault. Is that what?
Yeah. Daniel,
Daniel the kitty.
I know.
He is.
So if you guys are just tuning in now, and I don't know why you just tuned
in.
Where
were you?
Where were you for the
first? This isn't radio.
For the first
I'm going to start the podcast and then fast forward it an hour and 3 minutes in.
You never know.
Hey. No, we know. It's Tanya Metris unplugged
and unhinged.
And unhinged.
Because of this conversation, mostly, but
Oh my God, I love this so much.
I'm glad that you guys are my support system, my therapy network here.
Yeah, seriously.
Because God forbid,
how are you surviving with us as your network?
I know what would happen if I actually had a decent support system.
I know.
I wouldn't necessarily be unplugged and unhinged.
Oh my gosh.
And it didn't go over as funny as I thought it would.
It was funnier in your head. I mean, but that's all good. It's still
everything's in my head at this point.
You'd be unhinged and unplugged.
We're all going to be unplugged soon. They're going to pull the plug on us.
Imagine if the internet went down. What would we do?
Oh, my kids would go absolutely batshit crazy.
I can't imagine how many things your older son would probably break thinking that it was the item's fault rather than just that the signal was down.
Oh.
How much are we dependent on the internet as a whole right now? I mean,
society. Seriously,
do we do anything?
No.
I mean,
I'd read, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Reading is our only option. You can't even watch
my hardcover books.
I have to pull out paper books because I've been reading on my e-reader all this time. So yeah.
Reading is fundamental.
It is. I love reading.
Tanya may actually have to come over and borrow a box of my comic books.
She's not going to read the ones that Ann gave her. What do you think she's going to read? You think she's going to read the ones you give her?
Hey, I did read my 2 comic books, and they were really dark and hard to understand, so I think I need to go back to something a little easier, like Archie or something.
I've got plenty of those for you.
So, but I did procure 4 envelopes the other day to open on Wednesday.
Okay.
So I do have some comic books sitting in here.
How did you? I think I asked you, but I don't remember the answer. How did you and Ann show up on the same Facebook feed, being in 2 different houses?
I am just that magical.
It's magic.
Well, I can't argue that, but I'm going to ask you for something a little bit more specific.
It's a streaming platform called StreamYard.
Okay.
that allows you to stream live to like Facebook, Instagram, different platforms. It's limited for the free version.
Limited,
And
like in how many people you can have?
that and how many platforms you can stream to.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So,
because you
like,
could actually stream to multiple at once with it too. So we
depend.
could try it out for Nerd World News sometime if you want. You know, to
That's
see
exactly what I was thinking. But like when I saw them,
Yeah.
like, how did they do that? That's awesome. I'm so
Yeah.
excited for you guys to
So
figure
what
that
I
out.
can do, since I have it set up through my Mighty Monkey account, I can start it and have you join.
Okay. That's cool.
It's something different. Technology. It's amazing.
Technology, and that's how we will survive technology until technology fails us, and then we'll unplug it. So,
and we'll definitely become more unhinged.
Yeah, well,
and then we'll need Fireball
to cast it or drink it.
Yes. I didn't ask how big the room is. I said I cast Fireball.
Way back in the day when I was first learning how to play D&D, I had one of my buddies was playing a wizard, and the DM, who really was not particularly proficient in the rules, but made a really good go of it, once told my buddy, he said, "Look, I'll let you cast as many fireballs as you want today. You don't have to worry about your spell counter or anything. The only stipulation I make is that every fireball you cast, you have to drink a fireball." And our wizard was up to the task.
He's like, hold my beer.
It was hold my fireball. It was bad. I mean, it was funny as hell for a college kid, but it was bad. So
that stuff burns going down too.
You beat me to it by like a second. Flame-o!
Flame-o!
Smooth.
Oh boy.
Oh, we are
21st
regressing.
birthday.
Yeah, we are regressing mightily. That's great. That's great.
So so we had our hour and a half long therapy session, and
I'm so happy to share it with you guys too.
Technical glitches that happened, which happens more often than not.
Yeah.
And right now we still tentatively have our cosplay day scheduled.
Yes.
We're still that was what, May 15th? 16th. Yeah,
we're
the Saturday.
We're waiting on
notification.
I'm waiting for Seabreeze to say that they're postponing their opening, because that's what I'm sure it's going to happen at this point.
It's inevitable. But we're taking all of our direction from them right now.
So and same thing with 5/8 with the after party there.
Right.
It's probably not going to be happening. Let's be realistic. We're just not sure what we're going to do with it at this point. So leaving it on the books for now, and then we'll, as we get closer, we'll officially say whatever. The nice thing about doing the photos during the day is that it would be a smaller group of people. So it's not as if we're having inviting the world with us for that one, but we want to do those first pictures at Seabreeze there. So we're waiting to see what happens with Seabreeze.
If we're not reasonably assured of people's safety, we will definitely be saying something.
Exactly, and if Seabreeze isn't going to open, then we know it's not going to be a good day. So yeah. So that's where it's not a large event. It's going to be a fun event. And we're going to get some great pictures out of it, I think, and I hope like the cosplayers will have fun, and the places we go can use it to advertise afterward type of thing. But
the places will go.
Yes, but we're not gonna. We're only gonna do it, of course, if it's safe these days. So we'll see what happens.
That is our guiding principle right now. If we can't ensure your safety, then we will definitely let you guys know that something is changing.
Yep.
So, but we're potentially looking forward to FLXCon in August. It would be August 15th. That's where I'm getting the number 15 from. August 15th, that Saturday. With Michael Koski and Gregory French.
I miss those guys so much right now. I can't tell you.
Just the banter on Facebook between them. That's going on. You're not helping either.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
I'm innocent. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, like the driven snow in January?
Yeah. That's pretty damn clean. It's the snow in March and May that you want to worry about.
Yeah, no kidding. It's the muddy stuff. And then, of course, FC3 2020 has been moved to September 19th and 20th at the Total Sports Experience, located in Gates on Elm Grove Road.
I always wondered how Gates got its name. Was there a gate? Was there an actual like a gate that was just there? Like maybe that's the only thing they ever built were gates. And no,
maybe the Gates family.
The Gates family are famous treasure hunters. I'm sorry, I'm channeling my inner Nicolas Cage's movie, National Treasure, which was just I loved those movies. I really did.
They're fun. You know, they put in a little bit of history, a little bit of rumors in there, and just sort of put a story around.
A little conspiracy theory, a little actual story. You know,
the town is named after General Horatio Gates.
Okay, there you go.
Horatio. See, I was going to say Horatio Gates.
Because Horatio is a very common name back in those days.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
not so much these days.
Not so much these days, no.
I was not going to name one of my sons basically
work for CSI in Miami if you want to meet Horatio.
Yeah.
Him and his brother, Joe Chilai.
Yeah. They got together and made a town.
You asked. I Googled.
Fantastic. All right. I've got a plan. I've got an idea.
Are we getting ready for a question of the week?
Let's do a question of the week.
Oh,
yay.
I need to bring up my list.
I need you to bring out the list. Dan, it's time for the list.
List of questions.
No, he's got his jokes. Run. Yeah, it's by his foot.
Oh, God.
No. Just a second. I got to switch my Google account here.
Okay. That's fair. We can make that.
Kids have been using it, so it's under their account right now. Because, you know, there's that whole school Google Classroom there.
Yeah.
So the one is me, not as him. There we go. All right. Okay, I got the list up.
Okay. Whose turn is it to pick a number?
I think it's Billy's.
Each one of you pick one number from 1 to 10. No, it won't work because first one has to be 1 to 3.
Okay.
Each pick one number. We can compile it into one number.
All right. I'm going to
pick first person 0 to. No, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I'm going to say 57.
A single digit.
A single digit number.
Oh, a single digit number.
So the first person's got to be between. I guess
1 and 3, right?
Between 1 and 3.
All right. So between 1 and 3, 2.
Okay, 2.
8.
Next person. 2, 8.
What numbers do I get to? Between what and what?
Between 1 and 10.
Oh, 1 and 10. I'll go 9.
0, 9. Okay.
So 289.
All right. What is the weirdest thing you have seen in someone else's home?
Oh, God.
Okay. All right. Okay. Tanya?
I'm still thinking.
That's the weirdest thing I've seen in somebody's... No, I'm kidding.
Hey!
That was a joke that wrote itself. I'm sorry. I had to. It was easy. But no, go ahead. Tanya, it's your turn. You go first.
I'm thinking. Oh, God. The weirdest thing I've seen in somebody's home. Oh.
All right. Well, I'll start with an anecdote because the first thing that comes to my head was actually my own house before I became the owner of it. My predecessor in this house had a very eclectic sense of decor. All right. Each room was painted very weirdly sometimes or had like it was jarring or whatnot. But the foyer was his tribute to all things Egyptian. And it was right out of like those really weird catalogs you get in the junk mail. One wall was painted gold and there were like Sphinx statues and like little pyramids all over the foyer. And that just struck me as odd. Now that might not be the strangest thing I've ever seen, but it's the first thing that I thought of. So my brain went there, my own freaking house.
Oh, that's a tough one there.
It is a tough one.
Okay, I have an answer as long as you guys are thinking.
Does it involve Tertulio?
No. That's funny. That's funny. Now I have to think about John's house. Let's think about John's house. Nah, he's as vanilla as you get. The weirdest thing I've seen, and it's not a thing, it's a member of the B-52s.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
When Weeze and his first wife split up, I helped him move into a new residence. It was a huge house owned by some acquaintances of him, and he was going to be living in most of the house, and the owner of the house was his sister living there? I forget, but she was really good friends with Kate Pearson of the B-52s.
Oh, wow.
So she was there when I was helping Weeze move in.
That is so cool.
My answer still involves Weeze at a party once. At a mansion that of someone he knows. The owner had a monkey. So I don't know what's weirder, a monkey or a member of the B-52s.
I'm going to go with the monkey is probably weirder, but the B-52s is a close second.
Okay.
Because they are not a normal group of people, but they're so much fun. Their music is so good.
She's friends with there was a band in town called we used to call it, what was something McGillicuddy? Hildy McGillicuddy was, or something like that was the lady's name, and she was friends with Kate Pearson. So
that's amazing.
Oh.
Yeah, a member of the B-52s hang out in the house.
Yeah,
that's wild. That's so cool.
I am still racking my brain to see if anybody's house that I know there's something unusual or weird or something like walking into it. I'm like,
I will say that one of my favorite features of Brother Weeze's studio, and I have to sit in front of this thing every time we came in for podcasting, was the actual human skull with the breast implant on its head.
That was a real skull that he got from some doctor friend of his too.
I'm like, I remember looking at it the first time and looking at you and going, is this real? And you're like, you didn't even flinch. You're like, oh yeah. Like, wait, what? I'm looking at somebody's freaking head? Oh my God.
I think, I think probably the most unique thing that I've seen walking into anybody's house, where I'm going to say it was the George Eastman house.
Okay.
Is that big elephant head on the wall.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Is like the oddest thing because it's just something that I'm used to seeing deer heads on the wall and stuffed ducks and fish and things like that, and even a taxidermied fox, because my dad's a hunter. But to see if it's a real or a replica of the elephant head, it was awfully big. So I think that's probably one of the oddest things I've seen in a house. I'm just like, I think nowadays, I think odd things you see in a house are like radiators instead of like forced air heat. But that was normal for me growing up. And my family's house had hot water radiators. So, but I think now that would be unique to some people.
I think I'm just glad that a wall of Plastic Man with cats paintings hasn't shown up on anybody's list.
See, that's the thing is you're a comic book collector, so for me that's not weird. That's normal.
It's not unique or strange or anything.
Someone besides you guys. So.
Well, I'm sure it's a matter of, as usual, it's a matter of perspective. So, how about you, Dano?
I racked in my brain here, and I mean,
you lived in a frat house.
I've almost got to say, I mean, my parents' house.
Okay, your dad was quite the collector.
Especially after he passed, and we were just the estate company was getting stuff together and everything. It was just seeing the sheer volume of things laid out like for sale, and like this was all in my parents' house, not just for one sale but two sales. I had to go through. There was so much stuff.
Oh,
and that was just it's more a personal thing. And I know some of my friends at work, they went to the sale and the boss office, they were just shocked at how much, the sheer quantity of stuff that was there, and the variety of stuff that was there. He had Oriental carpets and his cameras and his watches and these random porcelain things and old picture frames and just car part, just anything was there type of thing. And I think it's just, during that time and everything, it just felt really bizarre. And it was just really weird, even though it was my house that I grew up in.
Yeah. Well, you and I talked about it often. You would call me and just start talking about what was going on and some stuff that you'd find. And yeah.
So it's just weird to see it all, laid out. And just, it wasn't, and it was not as if it was like one thing was his favorite. So this reminded me of my dad, but just like the whole process of having all that stuff was him type of thing. So it's just kind of, it's a little different, tone than this question maybe was, but it was more of, it was weird. So, it was just,
Nope. That makes sense, man. That makes a whole lot of sense. Huh. And that's going to be the kind of thing that lingers with you for a while too. You're going to be, you'll think about that.
Yeah, it never goes away. I mean, every so often something pops up and you think about it, and it's just like, okay, it's always a part. I mean, if you lose somebody, close to you, it's always a part of you in some way. So it's it's life, right?
C'est la vie. And that's a wrap for this particular show, I think.
I just found something interesting.
Tell me something interesting.
The Air Force Thunderbirds and the Navy's Blue Angels will begin Operation America Strong on Tuesday, April 28th. So this will be yesterday when they hear it. So if you're happening to be around the area and you hear a lot of loud jet noises, the two squadrons will be performing flyovers at hospitals in New York City, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey to honor the frontline workers battling the coronavirus pandemic.
Interesting.
So I don't know if they're gonna.
It won't be through Rochester probably, but no. But yeah, I've seen stuff about that, and of course, there's controversy about that. But the whole part of the whole thing is, they have to continue doing their training. They continue to have to fly. So what does it matter? I mean, not as big a deal if they're flying over a city versus their training. So these pilots are doing their training flights, and they're, so that's one of those things that. But it's good. Good. Showing our American, hopefully give somebody a little joy, a little thrill for the day.
Yeah, no, seriously.
They'll begin in New York City and Newark, New Jersey at noon Eastern time and will last 35 minutes. Then they'll head to Trenton where they'll spend 10 minutes flying over hospitals before reaching Philadelphia around 2. So, and then they're going to be flying over hospitals in Washington, Baltimore, Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, and Austin in the upcoming weeks.
Well, that sounds like something to look forward to.
I'm sure we'll see some YouTube videos on it.
Probably.
Oh yeah, easily for something like
both
that.
Both of them flying together. That'd be pretty cool.
So Billy, what are you up to today?
Not much. I may just try and find something fun to watch. It looks rainy and gross outside, so I won't be cutting the lawn as I should have yesterday. So I've got books, I've got TV, I got cats, so I'm just going to lay around here and enjoy them.
You got joy, you got sun, you got seasons in the sun.
Exactly. Seasons in the not sun.
Yeah, that too. I am going to go make myself a sandwich because I realize I haven't eaten much today. I'm going to go fix that.
Yeah, me too.
How about you there, Tanya Miss?
I have an order that I have to pick up at Best Buy, so they'll deliver to my car, and then I have to run and grab some groceries.
Oh, that's a plus. I had to buy a new range, okay, because of course during a quarantine is when my stove and my oven decide that the control module wants to give out. And I shopped local. I was very proud of myself. I got it from a local, well-known appliance store, who is not sponsoring us, so I won't talk about them at the moment. Yeah, but them. But they said, "Oh yeah, we'll be able to deliver it on Friday," meaning this coming Friday. So a couple of days from the airing of this particular podcast. I just got a call this morning on Sunday here, and the lady's like, "Oh yeah, no, we're gonna have people drop it off tomorrow," and I'm like, "Oh, yay!" I'm like, "Yay!
I can cook."
So this will be good.
So instead of getting it on Friday, you got it on Monday.
I'm going to be getting it on as the time of the airing of this podcast. Instead of anticipating its arrival in a couple of days, I will have had it for a couple of days.
Woohoo.
And in honor of one of my favorite books as a kid, which was Roald Dahl's Danny the Champion of the World, the first thing they did when his father and him bought a new stove was make make Toad in the Hole, Yorkshire pudding with the sausages in it. So I will be doing that because it's my favorite book as a kid. And I remember the joy that they had in that process. So I'm going to follow the letter on that one. I'm going to make Toad in the Hole for me and the kids.
Yay.
Cool.
I'm telling you. Anyway, that's that. So that's good. And what did we say? Rapparoo, anybody want to talk about anything else, or we've pretty much covered everything today?
We've covered more stuff than what we know to handle. Yeah,
more things we know what to do with.
Exactly.
I'm going to go continually quietly bleed in the corner and make myself a sandwich.
Okay.
So for Tanya and Billy, for Dan and myself, it's time to cue the music. Because this is...
Remember? Unplugged and Unhinged.
Oh, yeah. Improving it every moment. This has been FC3's Monkey Business, a product of the Mighty Monkey Corporation, purveyors and producers of the Flower City Comic-Con, coming at you in September on the, what was it, the 19th and 20th? I've lost track of the days.
Are you sure you're not unplugged and unhinged too?
Oh, I've always been. That's not a surprise. The surprise is talking about you doing it. So follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, follow us wherever we go, and we'll lead you to where the entertainment is. Love you, miss you guys. Hope all is well. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you again next week. Don't.